Will do.
Okay, good morning. For the record, I'm Chris Young, Chair of the HDC Sign Advisory Committee. Members, please confirm with an aye. Ben Norman.
Aye.
And Kevin Kuster.
Aye.
Staff, we have Esmeralda Martinez.
Present.
Thank you. This open meeting of the HDC's SAC is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020. That order, posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to convene remotely so long as public access to deliberations is reasonably provided. This meeting is convening via Zoom with video and audio recording available on the town's YouTube channel. We will feature public comment. Materials provided to members during the meeting are, unless otherwise noted, available on the town's website. During the meeting, I'll introduce agenda topics and speakers. Please remember to mute your Zoom audio until your name's called, and let's direct comments and questions through the chair to avoid crosstalk and the taking of minutes easier. Votes will be conducted by roll call. And we have Paul Wolf joining us. Paul, you want to say aye?
Aye.
Great. Let's call the meeting to order at 9:05 on August 8th, 2023. Do we have a motion to approve our agenda?
So move.
Second.
Great. Thank you. Ben, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Paul
Aye.
and Kevin?
Aye.
Great. We do not have minutes to review, so let's move on to public comments. Is anybody here for general comments not related to an application? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to commissioners' comments. Any commissioner comments? All right, we'll move on to new business. We have 26 Easy Street. Esmeralda, pull that
Hi,
up on
I'm right here. This is Laura.
Hi, Laura. Great, welcome back. So what is, introduce us to your application here.
So I have a store at 26 Easy Street, and I am trying to get a sign on the front of the building.
Okay, so we have, scroll down for a moment. And this is it the existing Bro Denim sign, or are you replacing the sign?
I don't have any sign right now.
Okay, so it's going where the Bro Denim sign is
Yeah,
currently
that's a
located.
proposed,
Okay,
proposed
it.
image.
understood. Okay. Has a sign been in that location before? I believe we've had
I
signage
am
on this
not
building before.
so sure. I would have to ask Bill Cassidy. But there is that sign holder out there, so I'm assuming yes.
All right, let me open it up to the board. We'll go Ben, Paul, Kevin. So Ben.
I don't have a problem with the sign. I think it needs just a little border to contain the white background. I will just make the announcement or whatever that I've seen a lot of signage hanging off this storefront that's probably not approvable. So hopefully this sign kind of will resolve those issues. So I strongly recommend that you just kind of review the sign book again and make sure that you're in compliance. It's been kind of a gray zone down there.
All right, thanks. Laura, before you reply to anything, let me just go around the board. So we'll go Paul next.
I would agree with Ben about the border. I see a light up there, so I'm assuming there's a light that needs to be make sure it complies with the guidelines. And my only other comment, I believe it's the same building around the corner. The side street there, there's a bunch of violations in those windows as well. It may be what Ben is referring to. It's not the applicant's problem, but it's Billy Cassidy's problem. That's it.
Okay, thanks. And Kevin?
Yeah, I agree with what's been said. I am not in favor of introducing a sans serif face to our signage. I understand there's 3 uppercase letters, but I am not in favor of that. Thank you.
Okay, so Laura, the question about the other signage, I think there has been some freestanding, maybe sandwich boards or things put out front. And there's window signs, I believe, is what are being referred to. And those, whether they're for your business or the gallery next door, may pop up on the enforcement list, which would require you to, or the other gallery to comply. It would be easier, of course, just not to have those signs out and go through that process. So just be aware of that. Relating to the lighting, I think we should, if you're planning to use that light that's on the sign that's in this picture.
I don't even know if that light works, to be honest with you. I'd have to look into it.
Okay, so we can approve the sign without lighting. It's really meant to be on only during evening hours that you're open. So after dusk. So if you're not open into the dark of night, it's sort of a moot point. Don't use it anyway. But we would either have to modify the application to include lighting or not. In which case we'd also need to make sure it complies with the 15 watt maximum, which the regulations require. So do you want to, are you open during the evening hours?
On the weekends we are.
Okay, so I guess the question would be, do you want to have that included in our review, a lighting with a 15 watt maximum bulb?
Sure.
Okay. And then the discussion of the border is that signs are meant to have a border just so that the white space doesn't bleed off. It's just sort of a traditional detail that's required. So would you be able to put a border of the gray, say, as a line around the perimeter, or paint, an edge band on it of some kind?
Sure, we can add a black border to the sign.
Okay. And then to Kevin's point, where the guidelines don't allow sans serif, or they strongly discourage sans serif, lowercase lettering, block lettering for capitals is allowed. A serif is just a little foot, a Times Roman font, for example. And it can be a slight detail. Would you be willing to
This is my
modify the denim?
This is my logo. This is
Okay.
my brand logo. So this is like the font that we use. That's how the wording is written out. So that's something that, I would like to keep it like this.
Okay, so logos are allowed to occupy 15% of the size of the sign. I'm going to go around the board one more time just so we can discuss that point.
It's just the brand name is like, that's how it's usually written out. It's the 3 capital letters because my last name is Brovigan, BRO, and then it's denim.
Okay. Understood. Let me just go around the board and have that review just based on Kevin's comment. So we'll do Ben, Paul, Kevin again. Ben, do you have any follow-up?
I don't know. I mean, the serif would be nice. Is it a logo? Sure. Is it 15%? Probably. I don't know. I flounder on that piece of information.
Okay. Paul?
I really don't have any comment one way or another.
Okay. Kevin, any follow-up on your end?
No, I would still be of the opinion that if that's the trademark, then it should be at 15%. I think we need to be consistent.
Okay. I could see that. I'm looking at it, wondering if it is roughly 15% of the sign. It doesn't appear to be as large as 25%. So it could be close. Let's open this up to
Chris, I agree with you. It's very close. I mean, it's definitely less than 20%. So I think we are in the 15% range.
let's open this up for a motion if anybody wants to make one.
I'll make a motion to approve, with the assumption that the lettering takes up 15% of the sign and the addition of a black border or a border to match the color of the font around the perimeter.
I'll second that.
Okay. Kevin, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Paul
Aye.
and Ben?
Aye.
Okay, I am as well. So Laura, thanks for working with us, and just pay attention to the other signage on the property because it has caught the eye of some
One
of
quick
us. So,
question, Chris.
yes, Kevin.
Did you check the size of this? We went by that page pretty quickly.
20 by 32. Thanks for. I think that's going to be fine. That's yeah,
It's 30
4.5 square feet. So it's
32 by 30?
oh 32 by 30. Now that's not what the photograph shows. Can we go back to the photograph?
I'll make a motion to recall the,
I'm seeing 20 by 32, which looks more to the scale that. So Laura, are you on? Can you clarify that for us? Are we looking at a 20 by 32?
It's
which would
20
be
by
the approved
20,
size?
20 by 32.
Okay, so
Alright.
let's just. Esmeralda, can you note that in the approval or make a modification to that on the application as well?
Will do.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Kevin, for pointing that out. All right, I think we're moving on to the next item, which is 7 Harborview Way. Do we have anybody from Gypsy with us?
Yes, Abby, Abby's here. Abby
Okay.
Gunshine.
Abby, can you hear us?
Hi, sorry, we were unmuted accidentally. Stacy and I are
Okay,
here. How are you? Can you see us?
great. We can't see you, but we can hear you. So that's the important part. So we looked at this last week and we had some questions on the types of signs being proposed and how it seemed like what was in the application didn't quite jive with what we were seeing in the photographs. So we have 2 sign applications here. Would you talk to us about the first one, which is in the planter here?
Absolutely. It's actually, I just did a posted so you could see where the approximate, where we're thinking would be a good location for it. So, because it's not in the walkways. And it's a 30 by 30 sign. And it would say Gypsy Cafe on it. And we were thinking if we put it in the planter right there to the right, it's very similar. I'm not sure which picture you have where you can see that there's a sign to the far left of the handicap ramp on the left. That is a similar sign. And it's, we thought we would do something similar. So it kind of flows and looks good together. That makes sense. There's,
Okay, so I'm not seeing, I'm scrolling through the pictures, Esmeralda. I don't see where this other handicap sign is. Is it down by the playground end of the
it's,
planter? Is that what you're saying?
it's actually not a handicap sign. It's just by the ramp that goes into the front of the
Oh.
building. The front of the building is actually facing the water. So you wouldn't, if you put the sign on the front of the building right there, you wouldn't see the sign because that faces the water and the playground. So that's why we thought, if we put the sign on as you're walking up, if you're familiar with the park down there, you walk past the gazebo and that's what you see, the planters right there on the left and the right hand side of the tent. So it would be facing the, right? It'd
Kind
be
of facing the street.
Facing the street and the park. And the
Okay, I do see there's the park sign that's in the playground. That's what you're referring to.
Yeah.
as being a similar sign. Okay, so that Esmeralda's in page 4 of the application. for everybody to
Happy
see.
if you, oh, see, there it is.
So there it is on the left-hand side of
Yeah,
the screen.
yeah. We
And
thought
that's
it's pretty big.
that's a public information sign. So that freestanding sign has been approved as a non-conforming sign. In other words, freestanding signs aren't approved unless they're for public information, such as a park. Just FYI. So this is not a projecting sign, which is I think what the application says, but rather a freestanding sign essentially in the planter.
We would,
There's other signage on the building. You have the wall sign that's up in the background of this photograph.
yes, that one came down because that wasn't approved. I didn't know that, well, I was new to it, so we had hung that sign up there and they told us that that wasn't approved, so we needed to take it down. And then we just really haven't, we didn't really know where the best spot was. That's why we picked over to the right-hand side there, so it would be seen by the park. We'd be more than happy if anybody has time to come down and see where they think it would be a good spot. I don't know if that's something that you do.
Yeah, we did discuss that this site is somewhat unique in your location and your, visibility. We obviously, this like the menu boards, the sandwich boards that are out by the street and by the parking lot are not approvable. And so those have come under, the enforcement side, where if you haven't received a notice, probably will. But let me go around the board just so that we can sort of open this discussion up. We'll go Kevin, Paul, Ben.
If we're just talking about location, it looks to me like perhaps either to have something on the awning itself or to have a projecting sign at the top of the ramp. From this photograph, might be a couple suggestions. I have not been down there, so I'm not that familiar with it. But I think beyond that, we've still got the issues with typography and those sorts of things. So that's what I have for now.
Okay, Ben, or excuse me, Paul, and then Ben.
This is not totally clear to me, but I think what Kevin is saying is it should be affixed to the facility and not stuck in the garden. So I would agree with that in terms of location.
Okay, Ben.
So Chris, I wasn't here last time, so I don't know if I'm allowed to speak on this or where.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it's fine. We didn't take any action other than request representation, so there was no discussion.
Okay. I think this little cafe is really charming. And I think signage on the building is preferable to a freestanding in the garden. I think once you're there, you're there. So I don't think a billboard-esque sign in the garden is appropriate. I think a bracketed sign off the porch would be perfect. And I'm interested to see the menu box, but unfortunately, I'm not in favor of the proposed garden sign.
Okay. Yeah. So Abby and Stacy, I think the real challenge here is that it's requesting a freestanding sign, which isn't approvable. The guidelines would say that signage should be attached to the building. There is an allowance for a fence sign, for example. Not sure if that's something that could be, that would require an HTC approved fence. And I don't know how that would jive with the sort of design of the space. So is that tent, the tent is new. We've seen this,
We
this
needed a
business
covering.
cycle through the years with different names.
We need
Yeah.
covering for the people. It just got so hot out there and nobody really wanted to sit out there. So it really added a lot of much needed shade. there. We had umbrellas, but it's just so windy and it just worked much better with the open tent. People seem to really like it as well. It's just hard
Right.
spot to get people to know where it is. It's, we've had a lot when we were advertising like crazy, but we've had a lot of difficulty with people actually finding it. Especially people that don't live on the island. They don't even know that there's anything there in the corner. We were trying to get some type of visual, so they're like, oh, that's a restaurant over there. You know, when they're playing in the park and things, they don't even know really what it is. I think the tent has helped a little bit, because then they know it's someplace that they can go. But unless they're looking on social, you know,
Like
Yelp
Facebook
or
or-
Facebook or one of those apps to find us, that's the biggest problem is nobody really knows it's there. So that's why we
Yeah.
put the signacades down at the end of the road to say, hey, there's a restaurant here. Since we took them down off of the walkway, and I know they're not allowed, I didn't know that at the time, but it literally cut our business in half since we took them down. So we have to just figure out, you know, what to do about trying to get people to know where it is. Wherever you think the sign is, I mean, would love to have you gentlemen and Esmeralda down to see where you think the best placement would be so people can see it.
You know, we discussed that last week, that possibly having this location needs a sign plan so that you as tenants and future tenants know, you know, what's approvable for sure. Apologize, there's a emergency vehicle in the background there. So I think that this should be taken into further consideration. As far as the board's concerned, I don't think we can redesign your sign during this meeting. What is the pleasure of the board? Should we hold for revisions and then try to have this conversation? I wouldn't mind coming down, meeting on site, if anybody else wants to have that, take a tour. I just think this is a long-term problem that we can solve with a master sign plan.
Chris, I think that,
Yeah, Kevin.
I think there's the possibility for the applicant to take this to the town, similar to the way that the Sandbar has a sign out at the main road that says restaurant. I think there's a couple of them, restaurant, tennis, something. I think that's a reasonable solution here that would inform people that there's a restaurant here without having to identify which one. And it's been done in similar places. So I'm not sure what the process is for that, if that's, but that, if that were my business, that's what I would look into.
Thank you.
Okay.
I didn't know that was available. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if it is either, but if the town allowed it for Sandbar and the town is the landlord of that property, I think that it's reasonable for you to ask for a similar thing here. And that would fall within our guidelines, and it would certainly help you out, I think.
That would be terrific.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'd maybe talk to Erica, start.
Okey doke. Definitely reach out to her.
So Kevin, that doesn't address this particular application. Do you think we should hold this? I'm asking the board's opinion.
Well,
This is
yeah,
sort of a unique one where,
Yeah, are we gonna discuss the graphics, or are we just gonna deal with location first?
if you have a comment on graphic, go ahead. Let's have that conversation.
Well, I don't think we've discussed it. It looks like that's the logo font and should probably follow the same discussion that we just had, but I'm not sure what everybody else thinks.
So it'd be the word cafe that you're worried about, because the gypsy
I can't
is
remember,
serifed. Oh,
I don't
scroll it
remember
down.
exactly what it is until. Oh, I see. Okay. No, I take that back. I thought it was something different.
Let's just go around the board, just discussing graphics for a moment, so that as whatever sign might be approved in the future. Ben, do you have any comments on the graphic or design?
No, I like the sign a lot. I think the cafe could use a serif, or just a little bit different of a font, but otherwise, I think it's a great sign. I like that sign.
Thank you.
Okay. Paul?
Yeah, I agree with Ben. I like the sign and I think it as is fine.
Okay, I agree as well. So really, Abby and Stacy, what we're struggling with is just how to get you a conforming sign type. And I would be, I think Kevin's suggestion about getting a sign down on the street at the end of Harborview Way is probably a good idea, but that doesn't also help you on premises here, putting up a wall sign. I mean, this could be approved, I'm pretty sure, as a wall sign where that other sign was, but with the awning or the tent up, that's blocked. So
Oh, projected.
I
sign.
still would like to try to come up with a projecting sign could work off of the post. Do you see how that would work? Abby and Stacy, let's just go back up to maybe slide 4.
I apologize. What does a projecting sign mean? Like coming off of the building? Oh,
Yeah, sort of a two-sided. So where they've got that white post on the corner of the porch that's up at the top of the ramp, you know, a sign coming off of that, for example, would be visible. Of course, you don't want to have it hang so low that it hits somebody in the head. So it does need to be
I was
set.
just thinking about that. I wonder,
Um,
just when you're walking up the ramp, but we could measure it and see.
Okay, that could be a way to get a sign that would be visible and approvable. So 7 feet is typically the minimum. The code, I believe, says 7'6", but 7 feet is, if we can clear 7 feet, we're typically able to approve a projecting sign to the bottom. So just take that measurement into consideration.
Gotcha.
So do you want to hold for revisions then? I think that would be the thing to do here. We can't approve, doesn't sound like we're going to make a motion for approval of a freestanding sign. So
Motion to hold for revisions and a view.
I think that's a good idea, Kevin. We have a second on that. Great, Paul, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Kevin?
Aye.
And Ben?
Aye.
Okay. So we will come down and take a look at this, and if you guys could consider that projecting sign location, that might work out well.
If you'd like
Okay.
to meet us there, we'd be happy, and just let us know when you're coming and we'll make sure
You can
Right.
come for breakfast.
All right.
absolutely.
All right, we'll be in touch on that. There is a second sign application here for the menu boards, which we can look at.
Those menu boards they go up and go down. One of them's on the door, as you see on the left-hand side. And then that's the breakfast, one of them's breakfast or lunch.
Yeah.
And then the other one is lunch. There's just really such limited space inside to hang anything. It's so difficult. It's a small space and not a lot of wall.
And it kind of
Area.
acts like advertisement as well.
Mhm.
When people are, come to the park for the first time, they kind of look up and they're like, whoa, wait a minute, that's a restaurant.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, if I can suggest to the board, I know that, again, these are not exactly compliant with size restrictions, but it might be helpful during our site visit to look at this as well, given where it's located and it's so far out of the general sight line. You really have to be up on that deck, which is around the corner to even see these. So just letting the board members that aren't familiar with this location know that. But still, we'll go around the board and have a discussion. So why don't we start with Paul, Kevin, and then Ben?
Yeah, I have a quick question before I comment. How long is this facility going to be open in the season?
We close, we haven't picked an exact date yet, but sometime around the end of September, maybe middle. It depends how
Mhm.
business
and the
is
weather.
going and the weather.
Okay, because I don't think we're going to get all these things resolved by then, but
Mhm.
as far as, does there have to be two of these things up? These
Well,
menu
The one on
sign?
the left is on the inside of the door, so that's
Right.
really, that we open and close.
Yeah,
I mean-
but that's the sign. That's, so you have two signs out.
One is breakfast and one is lunch, but what we could do, we do cut off breakfast at a certain time of the day at 11:30, so we could just, at breakfast time, put the breakfast menu up, so there's just one menu. And then for lunch, just swap out the menus.
That would be approvable. These don't meet our guidelines at all, but I think this is, as someone alluded earlier, it's kind of a special situation. You only can see these menu signs if you're standing in front of the building. Probably if you're down by the water, you have no idea what they say.
Right.
So in that case, I would be recommend we approve these, but only one of them, not two of them.
All right, Kevin. Thanks, Paul. Kevin.
My only concern is that I guess that I don't see why they couldn't be brought down to meet the size regulation. We may not be able to do that for this season because it'll be gone soon, but I think it's approvable, but it should be at the size that the guidelines call for, which would make it readable just like every other menu board. So, but as an aside, I think we need to start addressing the same situation that occurs on the food trucks, because I don't think the trucks should put the brick and mortar places at any kind of a disadvantage, and it should be a level playing field. So that's for a different discussion, but that's all I have on this.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Ben?
Yeah, I don't really love these signs. I think they're kind of overbearing and sort of awkward. Do I lose sleep over them being there? No, but I don't. And my fellow board members may cringe on this, but I think an actual menu box at the base of the handicap ramp that's kind of scaled to our normal size. What is it? 18 wide by 28 high or something like that. That menus sit in, or the menu is posted in like a little actual box. I think would be a little bit more sophisticated, no offense, and may create that signage on the face of the building that you're interested in. But I'm seeing more and more of these kind of menu billboards going up, and personally they kind of bother me. I just don't think it's a very friendly way of showing your wares. So that, unfortunately, that's my opinion.
Okay, so should we review this when we go down to review I think the whole site kind of needs a review, which, and your thought might be a good one that would help them with visibility and perhaps be more in compliance with the guidelines as well. But we could hold this for revisions, or at this point it's up. Stacy and Abby are obviously using these signs, and as Paul pointed out, we're
Yeah, I
only
know.
2 meetings away from your closing date, it sounds like.
Yeah, Chris, I
So-
think it would
Kevin, would
make life. I think it'd make life easier for the applicant and all involved if we just approve these on a temporary basis through the end of the season, and then we have time to address something for next year. That's my motion.
I'll second that.
that's a good idea. All right, Ben, are you in favor?
Aye.
Thank
And
you.
Paul,
Aye.
Thank you.
Kevin, okay,
One
great
more
idea,
co-
Kevin. I approve as well. Yes, Paul.
One more comment. Since we were invited for breakfast, we don't need to have breakfast, but I think we should try to set a time and date to come down there so that we don't go down there one by one, that we all go down there at the same time.
Paul, we'd have to post a meeting and all that. I think just individually visiting would would work, right? I don't think we want to be posting a meeting for this.
No. So how do we do?
Well, we could, I mean, we're not meeting as a group next Tuesday. Could we say, Esmeralda, could you post a viewing? Is
I
that the
certainly,
proper?
yep, I can certainly post a actual meeting posting with location, just in case anybody has an issue. But yeah, you can go
Okay.
down there as a group and I'll just do it as a regular meeting with the location being down at Gypsy.
Does anybody on the board have an objection to me saying next Tuesday at 9 a.m. we'll just have a posted meeting, whether you can make it or not, but at least it's posted. And if we can make it at that hour, we will try to.
No objection.
And then, of course, Kevin, if you want to go down on your own, that's fine.
I don't understand what it's
Just be
for.
careful about emailing.
Are you thinking we should meet to I thought we just voted on a temporary approval.
Right, but
We did, but this is more for the first sign application.
Oh, okay.
And then also just getting a sense for, the future of this.
Okay.
Because once the
Yeah.
temporary sign goes away, they're going to want to apply for a permanent.
Yeah. I personally don't think it warrants posting a meeting, and we could do it individually, but if the board wants to do that, that's okay.
Yeah, well, let's post it for 9 next Tuesday. Anybody that's able to make it, great. I assume Abby and Stacy are open 9 a.m. next Tuesday.
Oh, yes, 7:30 every day.
Okay, so you'll be
see you
there.
then.
Yes.
All right. I don't know if we need a motion for that. Paul, you were going to make that motion, I believe, right?
So move.
All right.
To meet 9 o'clock next Tuesday.
Great. Anybody want to second that?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Kevin. Are you in favor?
Aye.
And Ben
Aye.
and Paul.
Aye.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thanks so much,
This will be good. We
everybody.
need to come up with
Appreciate
a,
it.
you're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Ann
Esmeralda.
Scott from the library requested to hold till next meeting, which would be an actual sign meeting, so 2 weeks from today.
Okay,
She wasn't able to attend today's meeting.
so why don't we just hold for representation? Somebody want to make them? Do we have to make a motion on that, Esmeralda, or is that just, we're holding based on
You do
the
not,
applicant's request?
no action.
No action. Okay. That takes care of the applications. Is there any update on enforcement?
Sorry, if you can hear, now you can hear me. No update other than I've been receiving emails and I am following up with pictures and letters of courtesy notices of violations. And same Bill
Okay,
is
and-
tag teaming with me on those.
Great. Any board members have questions or comments on enforcement?
It would be really helpful. It'd be really helpful to me to get an idea of who's on the list. So, because I've got photographs, but rather than having to put the addresses and do them all again, it'd be helpful.
Okay, fair
Thank you.
enough. Yes,
Yeah, all of us would like that.
got it. I will make sure we keep update that spreadsheet.
Yeah, that'd be great, because I don't want to resend stuff you're already working on.
Understood. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Motion to
All right,
adjourn.
any other motion to adjourn? Do we have a second?
What interrupted?
Oh, Paul,
Sorry.
hold
I
that
see
for discussion.
The Athenaeum is on the agenda.
They requested to hold until our next meeting.
All right, fine. So I'll second your motion then.
All right, Ben, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Paul,
Aye.
and Kevin?
Aye.
I am as well. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
See
Thank
next week, guys.
you.
Yeah.